We'll see if I stick with this video, but today is the first day of a 4-week challenge to try the Barboza Method. Okay, quick backstory. Barboza Method is something, I guess it's kind of like a hybrid, no impact strength training, Pilates kind of. It's really based on strengthening your body in the context of lines and like for dancer strength. So you're really working those fine muscle motor skills, like your turnout muscles and your inner thigh muscles, and you're working a lot of muscles that don't get direct contact from more like compound large weight movements. So it comes highly recommended to me from a lot of dancer friends. I'm supposed to document it in case I make like a video about it. So here's the documentation starting today. I took some before shots. We'll hopefully take some after, assuming that life doesn't get so crazy and I don't get so depressed that I just give up. That's day one. I hope any of this footage is usable.
So here are some of the befores. Ah, such shiny natural light from a window. You can see I have a little bit of definition from all of the heavy lifting that I've been doing leading up to this point, obsession with the beach, but trying to keep shape. Oh God. Okay, so this is my very ever first Barboza Method class. Obviously sped up because I don't want to take forever. Um, but you can kind of see it almost looks like I'm not moving at all. But this is how precise the motions are in this class. Is you have to isolate, sometimes just inches at a time, and you have to completely control both the concentric and eccentric movements. So yeah, it starts to kick your butt after a while. Um, and yes, it is tricky sometimes finding the space for this in your house. Obviously, you can kind of guess that in the studio they have mirrors on the ceiling and on two separate walls, so you can see side and like front. You can have all the different angles to really check your alignment. And obviously, that's not really an option for me. So I'm trying my best to use the mat as a guide for what's parallel and straight, and then the wall as well to help me maintain my angles. Yay, bicycle crunches. Um, Also, they make very, very clear that for all kind of crunching activities, the focus is really up. It is not forward towards your knees. It's really a lift up as much as possible, which I absolutely think is a way more active use of your core and a way more just it wrecks your body. You'll get so tired. And then this was actually my proudest moment from this very first class, because it wasn't until I watched the video back later that I realized my lines are not bad. I think because of the yoga that I do, there is some self awareness that I have about if my back is in a straight line or is curved or arched, and kind of what I can manage. But yeah, you can kind of see by this point in the class, I am breathing a little heavy. I am wrecked. I can't wait for it to be over. Clearly, my bicep flexibility is some of the worst. I am still working on bicep strength, but I'm noticing that as I continue to work on the strength, I need to be very, very careful for the lack of um, elongation I have in those muscles. It is really hard for me to get my biceps straight alongside my ears without doing a lot of grabbing and pulling with my hands or my wrists. And I don't want that. I would prefer to have the ability to have very straight arms. And I am double jointed, so I do have to worry about that. But that's my goal, is the more it is a stretch instigated from the muscle, then the less likely I am to overextend or hyperextend and cause any problems. Yes, I look kind of like a flapping bird. And yes, I was already so sore. If you want shoulders, beautiful capped shoulders, seriously, this will make that burn so much. And you think it's impossible because you're just flapping, but you're not. Something else really useful about this class is that it is all done to music, and transitions are to the music, and movement is to the music. So there is not just an emphasis on the correct form and on physical strain and challenging yourself, but also in doing it in a way that is rhythmical and musical, and that requires a little bit of grace and coordination that you're applying to your muscles beyond just toning them and strengthening them. As you can see, I'm not yet able to get very far down in this process with this kind of hip flexibility. Hopefully, by the end, that will change. For those of you who are yogis, this is not necessarily a traditional downward facing dog. There is a little bit of a recommendation to have more of an arch in the back than you would want to have if you were doing it traditionally yoga. So do keep in mind that, you know, the method exists as it does for a reason, and obviously always be safe. But I recommend, you know, not applying your own previous opinions based on whatever yoga you may practice, or Pilates, but staying open-minded to a different alignment, and letting this method take its shot.
Hey guys, I am up today at, well, I woke up at like 5 a.m., but I am up right now and it's almost 7. I've just been doing like little house stuff. The Zoom show I was doing is over, so I don't have to stay up late anymore, so I need to fix my sleep schedule, and so I'm trying to make sure that I do stuff right as soon as I wake up. And we have a little routine where we, you know, feed the cats, we make coffee, blah blah blah, and then I'm going to do a Barboza class today. So it's been at least 1 week. I actually use the little Barboza app. I am now becoming a 2-device workout person. They have Spotify playlists for all their classes, and they do their exercises along to songs. Oh, and the Santa Anas are here. Excuse me, sir. Are you trying to go out this morning? Have you forgotten that you're an indoor cat? Oh, would you like to try the Barboza Method today? Oh, okay. No, you're just gonna keep me company. Oh. Okay, just doing a quick week and a half check-in.
Yeah, so this is just to kind of catch you up that I am still doing NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I mean, of course, I'm still doing NEAT. Your body's always doing NEAT, but I'm still doing non-exercise activity. So I'm still trying to meet a certain step count and just make sure that like once every hour, once every 2 hours, especially since I'm working remotely, I am able to get up and just move around. Maybe I do a couple push-ups, or maybe not even anything so athletic, but I just stretch a little or move my legs, walk myself from the office to the kitchen. There are some fires and there is the Santa Ana winds. Today is actually an unhealthy air quality day for sensitive groups, and I am one such sensitive group. This kind of a day is exactly one of the reasons why I'm trying the whole Barboza Method, you know, video on demand system, because on days like this where the air quality is even just moderate, but especially into the unhealthy for sensitive groups, I'll get way more stitches, my pace goes down significantly, and then I have really decreased energy kind of for at least a couple hours after the jog. So the point is, on these days I have to switch up my routine and be able to limit my outdoor time. So that means I have to find something that I can do at home that consistently feels like a really strong challenge.
Hey guys, just a quick update, but I'm actually visiting my parents. I'm in a new place and I don't have my usual wall, I don't have my usual place, so I think I'm gonna have to switch to doing the videos, at least for this week, while I'm here without the wall. And I'm really not like probably really ready, truthfully, but sometimes we have to make compromises, right, to be able to meet the goals we set for ourselves. Yeah, anyways, just wanted to give you guys an update. But I'm in a really beautiful place, and I'll give you some vistas, and see you later.
Just kidding, guys. I totally lied. I found wall space. At least enough. It'll work.
All right, don't judge the room. Got some quick check-ins. Ooh.
Cat.
So I'm gonna be totally honest, but I slept. So I was doing really, really well. despite changing environments and some highly emotional things, being consistent at least a video every other day, sometimes every day. And then the days I wasn't doing videos, doing things like jogging or walking or Pilates, extra focus on my core, some weights at home. But this past weekend, I didn't do a damn thing. It was a combination of some family illness, so I was at my parents' to help take care and just be there for them and kind of get a sense of what they're going through. And then, obviously it was working and all this work of trying to process those emotions, and it all happened while PMSing and starting my period this month. It was kind of a big emotional up and down week, and my body was just wrecked. If my results aren't amazing, don't judge the original program, don't judge the classes for that. But I guess this is why we do 30-day challenges, right? Because 30 days, you're almost guaranteed to have some rough patches. So it's not just, how does this work when I'm really good and I'm perfect and I'm able to keep all the balls that I'm juggling up in the air, but how does this serve me even when stuff goes wrong? Very wrong. And I got to put my strength to use. I built a fence. I put a fence in with the help of my husband into my parents' yard. My father helped too. But I got to actually use these muscles and show that they're not just for looking pretty, but they are actually for doing things and contributing things. And I think my parents' house looks really great. So I'm glad. So so I'm still sticking it out. This is today's check-in, but this is the full disclosure that I had a weekend where I got tapped out. I tapped out for 2, maybe 3 days. But I think we can get back on schedule. I think we can make adjustments, and periods exist, emotional crises exist, cancer exists. Yeah, so there you go. We're in the last few days. And I'll be honest, I didn't realize actually how much this would build muscle. And therefore, I didn't take the rest and recovery periods between classes so seriously. The first couple weeks, I was able to just keep adding classes on classes because I had that fresh motivation, and the soreness hadn't kind of added up to a point where it was actually interfering with the quality of the work I was doing in the class. This week's been a little lackluster as far as my ability to do Barboza Method videos, but it's not because I don't really, really enjoy it. It's actually just because I am sore enough. I have to pace more time between my videos. So take that as you will for the results, but that's just the reality of keeping my body in proper tune and health.
So now it's time to compare how I started versus how I ended. So this is what it looked like when I was performing my last classes after, I would say easily 20 something or so of these classes. The primary things that I am proudest of are the lines and how I really work more as I understood the Barboza method better at really originating a line from a kind of a connective point like a joint or this is going to sound weird, but like an armpit, and then have the whole line extend from that point as cleanly and straight as possible. I cut out a lot of sections from this full class for this edit just because the angle didn't really look really good for some of the other postures that are parallel to the mat instead of perpendicular. But you can see, even down to the muscles around my metatarsals in my foot, my ability to point my toes is better than when I started. And my ability to lift very small places, like my inner thighs were a whole different world after 30 days of this class. Those circles, the first time I tried them, I barely got probably 2 circles before I had to pause and breathe, and now I was managing to keep up for the most part with the class. Shortly after this, I would in fact try to brush up on some of my modern dance skills, and I did notice that my stability and my ability to shift weight was drastically improved. I think primarily because this method kept me really focused on being grounded and in my body, very able to control small movements and shifts and balance. Even while using the wall to hold myself up, there is still an element of trying to use my own inner core strength, especially to keep my balance in these different postures. This definitely worked my hip flexors, and I didn't realize that you can not just stretch your hip flexors, but even kind of strengthen their ability to lift, which had definitely improved my kicks in my dance. Yeah, enjoy my pain face as I realize how much my shoulders and biceps are dying just from, oh, and of course the triceps and probably the delts and the lats too, just from this much elevated arm movement. I don't know if you remember from the beginning, but I'm easily a few inches closer to my legs in those side to side stretches. And then, of course, coming up is the stretch that everybody cares about, improving their flexibility, the open side splits. I wasn't necessarily going as low as I've gone at my peak dancing training. However, I felt way more in control. I felt like I could keep my hips level. I felt like I could keep both thighs on the ground. Oh my gosh. And these, I ended up actually really loving these. I think some people call them pike push-ups or kind of downward dog push-ups, depending on what your training background is. But I really enjoyed that kind of activation of my shoulder holster. And you guys can peep the core activation even just in standing. And ta-da! First up is our before and after, I guess, angles. I prefer to do more visual comparison than per se weight, though I will share those numbers later. But this is the difference in my posture. This is the difference in muscle definition that I saw. This is the difference in tone of certain places. And then, I just got really excited that you could see small striations in the muscle down to the calf. I mean, look at that calf. It's been months since I filmed all of that, and I never actually got to the final part where I filmed the results. And I think I said somewhere in the video that I'm going to get you guys the numbers, and I lied. I cannot find the journal anywhere where I wrote down any kind of like weight or measurements before and after. So I don't have those numbers, but for me, the pictures did a lot of the storytelling for me. In fact, I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure my weight didn't change almost at all, negligibly during those 30 days, but I was less looking for weight and I was looking more for shape, honestly, and that was really what I wanted. And I know everybody says this because everybody's trying to sound like they're not obsessed with body ideals, but I actually mean functionality. I audition as a mover, which means I know I'm not a dancer, but I kind of pretend like I'm one when it comes down to it. So for myself, I need to be able to hold myself like I'm a dancer and act like I'm a dancer. And that comes from the way that your lines are, that comes from the way you can hold yourself in fifth position or first position, your turnout, the point of your toes, all of that stuff matters. And that was what I really, really wanted, was to be able to go into a mover audition and feel more confident. I know I should like BuzzFeed list this for YouTube and come up with numbers, but I'm gonna keep it really simple. Yes, I completely recommend the Barboza Method for anybody on a budget who does not feel comfortable yet going to a gym. I will admit, there's something about gym culture and going and like squatting and deadlifting that is pretty irreplaceable. But if you are not there right now, if you need the flexibility of being able to work out from home, if you don't yet feel comfortable with the Delta and the Lambda variant going out into that much of a closed space with people who are breathing extra heavy and sweating and that there is, oxygen and liquid and CO2 that is just out there in your face at a gym, then this is a really solid option. I had 15-pound dumbbells at home and I would use them, and I will be honest, they did not work me as hard as the Barboza bodyweight videos did. Perks of the Barboza Method. After those 30 days, my posture was noticeably better. After those 30 days, whether or not I weighed less, my abs had clearer lines where I wanted them to be. After those 30 days, my booty had more shape. After those 30 days, my hip flexors were able to lift my kicks up higher comfortably. After 30 days, I do feel like there was an improvement in my cardiovascular health. I started rollerblading after this. After these 30 days, my brain felt more willing to try physical activities that weren't in my wheelhouse because I had been using it in a new way and using that mind-body connection to try new movements. Oh, the craziest thing, in my opinion, about the Barboza Method is that the founder, Stephanie Barboza, will get involved with you even if you've never met her in person. I had never had the chance yet to go to an in-person class when I learned about the Barboza Method. So I'd only ever taken classes virtually during COVID. And she saw my tags on social media and she would message me with advice, with corrections to my form. I could ask her questions. Now, I'm not saying go out and harass a business owner. Please do not. But the point was just, you really actually did get involved in a community. This dancer athlete is invested in the journeys of those who try out her technique. And if you are in LA and you want to go to one of these classes, I mean, she's right there. It is very, from the looks of these class videos, it'll be hands-on. She is correcting your form, correcting your posture. You are learning how to move your body in ways that, especially if you're not a dancer, you've probably never moved your body in that way before. And I think that's wonderful. It's good for your brain and it's good for your body. But if you can't do something like that and you just need an online solution to missing feeling safe at the gym, I highly recommend the Barboza Method for affordability, for access to the trainer who cares, for quality of difficulty of exercise. 1 hour of that would sometimes knock me out for a day. And outside of like walking or really light cardio, that was all I needed for a while. So I had a really, really good time with these 30 days. I definitely stuck with the Barboza Method after these 30 days. I did end up having, because of some personal issues, having to stop taking classes for a while. But Barboza Method is one of the first on my list to be something that comes back into my life when I'm a little bit more stable. I'm trying to think of any other questions people have. Oh, if you're looking for strengthening those muscles in that really elongated way, right? You like those long lines. If you're one of those women who's worried those bigger muscle exercises are going to make you bulky, spoiler alert, they're not. But let's just say that's a real concern for you. I will say the Barboza Method never really made me feel bulky. Every time I felt like my thighs were looking longer rather than larger, but they were still more capable. My squats did improve after doing the Barboza Method for 30 days. My push-ups improved after doing the Barboza Method for 30 days. I'm a big one who actually kind of likes being a woman with biceps, but while the Barboza Method didn't necessarily make my biceps height increase, I did start to get that little kind of line that goes right here that some people really, really, really like. If you have aesthetic goals, and those aesthetic goals are lines, I think this is a really good class to target that. If you have strength or functional training goals like gymnastics or dance, I think this is a great companion technique to dancing, Pilates, yoga, etc. I feel like my yoga improved because I was building the strength and stability muscles that allowed me to stay in a Warrior 3 for longer. I feel like the strengthening of my shoulders is helped me move towards headstands, which I'm still working on. Yeah, I guess that would be kind of my who this is for. Either someone in a very specific athletic world where your form and your lines really matter. I think this is a great way to strengthen the stabilizer muscles and the turnout muscles that you need for those lines and forms. And then aesthetically, this is really, really good for anyone who wants to have that dancer body look from home. So I hope that answers any questions. I know this video wasn't the greatest thing in the world. It was kind of my first 30 days and it was kind of haphazardly put together. There was a lot going on in my life that went quickly chaotic after I filmed that. So hence why I've disappeared off grid for a while. But here I am finishing it out. I didn't lose any weight, but I did change visually how I looked in the mirror, and that meant a lot to me at that time. And I feel like it equipped me to jump back in more wholeheartedly into my fitness when my life got really stressful. I was able to go into a more aggressive fitness routine to really kind of stabilize my mood, because exercise really helps me with that. So I hope that helps someone out there. If you're curious, what the heck is the Barboza Method? You can look up their channel. They have a bunch of YouTube videos. You can look up their social media. Stephanie is super active on social media. I think they're doing a retreat this month. Guys, this is my first time using this Canon, so I have no idea if it focused on my face. We're gonna find out. Bye.